Hello and welcome to the latest edition of the Awesome Sauce EDU podcast, where I'm shining the spotlight on cool stuff happening in the classroom. For this episode, I'm just going to do a quick update kind of on what I'm doing this year and some of the strategies I've worked on and some of my current thoughts right now. Right now, this year, I am teaching a variety of classes. I shifted to still the same building, but I'm teaching a 6th grade, 7th grade literacy class. I'm teaching a comm media class, which is basically communication media, things like podcasting, blogging. It was traditionally the newspaper, but now it's evolved into a little bit of variety of media types. I'm also teaching a couple of leadership classes. So with all of these new classes, it's been a lot. It's been a big shift. It's got multiple preps. I'm starting to get my feet under me. I'm starting to get a better idea of what I want to do with each of the classes, how I want them to function, and where I want them to go with each of the classes. But it's been a little bit of a struggle bus. I forgot how difficult it is to start fresh, to start with something brand new. That a comm media class I'd done a bunch of times before, but it had been a few years, so I had to refresh my memory on some of the things that I like to cover in those classes. The leadership class, the literacy class I've done for years, and that one I felt the most comfortable with. But then the leadership class was all new to me. I do a lot of leadership activities as the K Club sponsor, which is a leadership organization, community service organization in Kansas, if you're not from Kansas. If you are from Kansas, it's a KSHA activity, and it is statewide. But I am the sponsor, and so I've done a lot of leadership stuff with that and my robotics team, but I hadn't actually taken the time to teach the class. And so I'm excited to teach this leadership class. I might do a podcast episode on this leadership class because I've had to tweak it a little bit based on the students in the class. I tried to tailor it to who's in front of me and how I can best support them. And so this is a group of 8 boys who are super active, super energetic. And so I've had to really tailor a lot of, coming from literacy and reading and writing, I've had to alter a lot of those activities that I would normally have them sit and read something. I've tailored it to their energetic needs, and so I've kind of altered it and added a lot more movement, a lot of activities, a lot of things that are more hands-on because that's just what they need. And it's been a great experience, but it's also been a big shift. Now, the one thing that's been on my mind lately is I'm giving a professional development session for staff on some of our reading goals. We've got a goal this year as I'm in charge of the academic pillar of our 3 pillars at Santa Fe Trail. The pillars are academic, social emotional learning, and civic engagement. I am the BLT, Building Leadership Team lead on the academic pillar, and we've got 3 main goals. 1, at every professional development, we are introducing a vocabulary strategy. 2, we're introducing a math strategy. And 3, we're introducing a reading strategy. I know vocabulary and reading kind of overlap, but vocabulary is a big focus in our building because we know that's how we can improve student reading, especially in across content areas, especially in the sciences, the arts, the social studies, history. A lot of those are very vocabulary heavy, and so we want to give them an extensive vocabulary so they can tackle texts in each one of those content areas. But my in-service on my professional development session on Tuesday is going to be over fluency because we've decided that we've got a high need for fluency work in our buildings. We didn't realize, I started a year and a half ago, working with different teachers in the district on how we can support fluency across the district. Because I didn't realize it was such a need. I didn't realize that so many kids struggle with reading fluently. They may be able to fake their way through comprehension, but when you ask them to sit down and read in front of you, they struggle with sounding out different words. And so the more complex the text gets, the more difficult it's going to be for them to use context clues and things to get through that text. And so we've discovered there's a big need in fluency in our building. And so I'm doing a session on why we need fluency work and how to best support students in fluency. We're going to take a very straightforward, structured approach to how we can tackle a text. We're challenging the teachers in our building to try to have at least one time over the next quarter to implement a fluency lesson. What that looks like is They're going to take a text they're already reading as a class, and they're going to have the teacher read aloud, have the students read the next paragraph as a whole class, and then either partner read or read individually the rest of the text. Okay, so just getting that practice with reading out loud. And then we would encourage them to do the same strategy either the following day or later on that week. Repeat that strategy just to give them the practice of reading through a text together. And then talking about layering on different elements. We're not going to roll it all out on Tuesday, but eventually we'll layer in things like how do you stop in punctuation? How do you emphasize different parts of a sentence? Things like that in your fluency to be a fluent reader. But the thing that really sticks with me, and I think I've mentioned this before on the podcast, and the thing that's really stuck with me, I've been thinking about it all day, is so much of reading instruction, and the more I thought about it, it's really all instruction. So much of it is not just about giving students the strategies to learn new material, but it's about eliminating barriers. I use the analogy of if I took everyone in my class to the gym. I'm talking about like the gym with weightlifting and treadmills and machines. If I took them to a gym and I took them to Planet Fitness and I just dropped the kids off and I said, you got 30 minutes, go work out. It could be the nicest gym in the world, but you're going to have some kids that are going to go try to figure out equipment because they're rule followers. You'll have some kids who know how to use the gym equipment. They're excited. They go and they start working out. You'll have some kids who will stand in a corner and start talking to each other. And there are some kids who will be super uncomfortable because they have no idea where to start and they're going to get frustrated. And that's exactly like every other educational experience we've got in school. You've got some kids who love to read. You've got some kids who are going to read because they have to, because they're rule followers and they want to do what they're supposed to. And then you're going to have some kids who have no idea how to approach a text. And it doesn't matter if you take them into the greatest library with the greatest set of books. If they don't know where to start, if they don't know what strategies to use, if they don't know how to use the equipment, if they don't know what the different equipment works on, if they don't know how to approach it, they're going to shut down and not approach it at all. And so a lot of my focus this year is on how can we eliminate barriers to tackling that. Okay, if I was in the gym, I would be showing them, okay, hey, here is a beginning level machine. You're going to use this. I'll be honest, I don't go to the gym, so I can't give you perfect examples, but hey, here's a treadmill. Have you walked before? Perfect. Here's how you turn the treadmill on. There you go. We're going to start just on the treadmill. That's something you can get comfortable with. That's something you can do. I'm going to help some other people get going, and then I'll tell you another strategy or another machine that you can use. Okay? Back to the reading analogy, I may give them a book and say, you know what? Here's a graphic novel, or here's a Diary of a Wimpy Kid book, or here's a book that you're really comfortable with that you really like. Let's start there. You're going to look at this book that you know that you're comfortable with, and then we'll go from there. When it comes to eliminating barriers, I'm thinking of things like our intervention teams are working on phonics. Okay, that's a barrier. Some kids can't approach a text because they don't know how to they don't have the phonemic awareness to read a text. And so we're working on different phonics skills to help eliminate that barrier. A lot of our kids need that fluency work. Fluency is a barrier. They can't read for a long enough period of time to understand the sentence because they can't read it fluently. Okay, background knowledge is a barrier. Research has shown that kids who don't understand a text, they don't have background knowledge on a text, are less likely to comprehend the text. They're more likely to comprehend a text if they have that background knowledge. So we're trying to eliminate that barrier of background knowledge. Okay, all of these things are just things that get in the way of understanding a text. And so that's really my focus, is how can I eliminate the barriers that are getting in the way of students understanding a text? And then we'll work on the love of reading. But it's hard to get to that love of reading if you have all these barriers and roadblocks getting in your way of understanding the text enough to actually fall in love with it. So that's all I've been thinking about. How can I eliminate barriers? Go out. I challenge you. What are some barriers you can try to eliminate in your students' learning and comprehension. Regardless of what subject area you teach, what are some ways that you can help eliminate those barriers and get them to where you want them to go? That's all I've got for this week. I hope you have a fantastic week. If you need anything, you can always email me at teachlikeaninja@gmail.com, or you can find me on Twitter at teachlikeaninja. I'm on Instagram at teachlikeaninja. TikTok, although I haven't mastered the art of TikTok yet. I'm a consumer of TikToks, but I am not a viewer of TikToks. I'm a viewer of TikToks, but I'm not a creator of TikToks yet. I've created a couple, and I'm hoping to get back into the swing of things now that I've got a better grasp of my classes and do some more of that. But that's all I've got for this episode. Until next time, book it forward and be awesome. Because everything is awesome.